Doing a different video today. What we're going to be doing, or I'm going to be doing, is answering some common questions that you guys have, that I get in comments, or that my team has pulled that a lot of people just get stuck on. So I'm going to just be doing Q&A today. I have all the questions pulled up here that my team has pulled, and we'll be just jumping through them and going through what you guys want to talk about. So let's just jump right in. All right, first question: where do you recommend looking for investment properties? There's a lot of good places you can look to get started. I guess I'll take this tactically and then just kind of like overview. So tactically, the best places I think to get data on where you want to start investing are looking at places that have population growth. So you can get this from census data, you can get this from like U-Haul puts out data, you can get this from just Googling the population of different states and seeing where there is ingress or regress, I guess, of people leaving. I don't know if I got that 100% right, but I think I did. And you could see where people are coming and going. The biggest indicator for rental success or appreciation is population increase and then job increase that follows it. Okay, so you can look at it like that. Another way that's really simple that some people look at it is they just go based off where there are other successful investors or successful businesses. So they'll jump onto Bigger Pockets or Facebook groups and just see where other people are having success with rentals or with their businesses. And what some people do also is they'll just see where there's like successful Starbucks or Chick-fil-A's or chain restaurants, because chain restaurants are usually already doing a lot of research before they put money into an area, so that can be an indicator. Some of my actual favorite states to invest are the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, Tennessee. These are all places that I've either looked at deals myself or own real estate myself, or have students that own real estate and do very well in those areas. And you'll see with all those areas, they have increasing population, increasing job growth, and they have a lot of travelers that go every year. Okay, so another thing, just to kind of loop back on this, for travel data, you can look on places like Travelocity, you can look at places like Orbit, you can look at places like Google Travel, and even they will tell you where people are going, and you can see a lot of this data there. We've made more videos on the specifics, but those are just some quick things that you can look at to get started and pick an area where you want to invest. Okay, so some people are wondering how you can get multiple low money down loans, like a loan for 3% or a loan for 5%. So a loan for 3 to 3.5%, that's an FHA loan. So what that means is you're gonna live in the property, you're gonna put 3 to 4% down, and then you're gonna live in it. What you can do is rent out the other rooms and you can live for free. Now, you can get multiple FHAs. There are just some stipulations that they have to be a certain distance from each other. Different lenders have different, I think, distances that they wanna uphold. Definitely speak to a lender about that. But you can do multiple 5% down loans where you're not doing FHA, but you can put low money down, you can get into the property, and then you can start renting out the other rooms or units. And then after 1 year, you can move out and turn it into a rental. And I don't believe there's any regulation around how close those need to be with each other. There might be, you might definitely wanna check on it. Things have also changed recently, but I don't think there are. So that is how you can get multiple low money down payment properties consecutively or year after year. And that's how I did it as well from 2015 to 2018 when I was living in North Carolina. And just another question that some people were wondering, can you repeat this? Yes, you can do this multiple times. So you can buy a property with 3.5 to 5% down each year, and then you can turn it into a rental and buy another one on day 366. It's a very popular strategy. People do it all the time on Bigger Pockets, and that was kind of my inspiration for doing it. But yeah, you can do this, and then every year, you just buy one new property, you turn the old one into a rental, and then you can keep doing this without needing a ton of money to get started in Airbnb or with regular rentals. Like, that's the biggest hurdle for most people, is that they don't have enough money to get started. And by doing it this way, you don't need that much money to get started. Okay, the next question: how do you get started with Airbnb arbitrage? The quickest way to get started with Airbnb arbitrage is not talking to lenders. It's to talk to brokers and to talk to property owners. And the easiest way to find that is just going on Zillow, apartments.com, Bigger Pockets, and Facebook groups, and finding property owners and landlords who you can talk to have listings. I say start there, because for most people, they start with analysis and they get really caught up in the analysis and they sort of get paralysis analysis and they don't do anything. So I tell people to actually flip that and start reaching out to people and letting them know you want to do corporate housing. You're going to be finding clients to put into their properties. It's going to be a business. It's not just you living in there. And by doing it that way, you're getting over the fear of reaching out to people on phone or email or DM, and you can actually get started instead of just waiting and analyzing. Then, of course, you want to run the numbers. We give out all our tools for free. So if you want to see those, either just drop a comment or we'll have some of them linked in the summary. But then you can run the numbers and see if the deal works. And even if the deal doesn't work at the numbers that's currently proposed, you can renegotiate maybe because you have someone that you have a relationship with and you've talked to. Most people, they do all the analysis, they find a good deal, and then they wait to reach out and they don't get a response. So I like to do it the other way, where you have leads and then you can run the numbers and then you can start negotiating. Okay, next question. Would you say it's better to get a nicer property that may not cash flow or is negative by only $100, or better to get a cash flowing property? So this person is investing in DC. There are no duplexes or triplexes in this area or good cash flowing options because of the high price. Okay, my advice, if you're looking to do house hacking where you're putting 3 to 5% down, you're gonna be living in it and renting out the other rooms, you can find a house hack property within 30 to 45 minutes of any area you live. I would love to be proven wrong on this, but I don't think I will, because if you just look at a map and you go outside your area, you can start to find areas, DC included. This person may just not want to leave that area. So I would always challenge someone that if you're not willing to get a little uncomfortable, consider that you can find a property 30 or 45 minutes outside your area and you can do house hacking. As far as being negative cash flow, I personally wouldn't, because there's deals that are cash flow out there that's just the game that I'm looking to play. Now, it is interesting if you think about it. If someone is looking to build the most wealth in a 20-year period, they probably actually wouldn't be investing for cash flow. They'd be investing for appreciation. But that's just not what I'm doing, what I recommend for younger people to do, because a lot of you guys, and what I was doing myself, I was looking for cash flow so I could leave my job at a young age. Then what I can do later in life, or if I acquire enough properties, the appreciation will build up and I'll be worth a lot more money in equity or net worth later on. But the thing is, that's just on paper until you either refinance or sell the property. What I'm always thinking about is, how do I get more cash flow every single month so that I can cover my life expenses and whatever I want to do every day and be financially free, like you guys might want to be. But you can't do that with just net worth on paper. So for me, I would not be looking at negative or even break-even properties. But there's nothing wrong with that. It just needs to align with your goal. And I've said this a lot before too. If I have friends that work in like corporate America or normal jobs, and they're interested in getting into real estate, but they don't know how to find deals, I do think that you'd be better off buying 5 break-even deals or maybe slight loss deals every year for 5 years than someone who does nothing. So if we're gonna consider someone who does nothing versus someone who buys 5 break-even deals, I would say buy the 5 break-even deals. But if you really wanna, expand a portfolio and build out something that could turn into something really cool later on, I challenge you to find something that can cash flow, or you might have to just change your location wherever you're looking. Okay, next. If you only had 10K to get into Airbnb, would you buy a cheap property and put it on Airbnb or do arbitrage? I would probably try to buy something, actually. I know some people would disagree with this, but I think buying while you have cash or a job is important, and using up all your loans, and then you can do arbitrage or co-hosting because they don't require any money later on. Or they just require a lot less money and they don't require any bank loans. Let me rephrase that. I'm in the Airbnb business and my Airbnbs aren't performing as well as I wanted them to. Any recommendations on how I can increase bookings? Yes, I do have some recommendations on this. First off, guys, what I would say, it's a little bit of an expense, especially if you're already maybe not making as much money as you want, but it's worth it, is to bring in a designer. If you haven't already designed the property in a unique way or to have lots of amenities, you definitely need to do that right now, because a lot of properties that were just bought during 2021, 2022, they were bought with the assumption that this is just gonna be easy and you can just buy a property, throw it on Airbnb and it's gonna do well. That's just not the case anymore. There's a lot more competition, maybe less people are traveling, and you need some ways to stand out with your property. So you need better design, better amenities, and then you need better pictures. And you also need to be more in line with your pricing. That's why we recommend something like Price Labs. This is not an affiliate video, they're not sponsoring this video, but in general, they've just been a great way for us to know where we should be pricing our property, at least as kind of like a benchmark. And then week to week, what we do is we get more aggressive on pricing if we think we can fill the calendar that way. Some other things you can do is reach out to brokers in your area, reach out to local businesses in your area, reach out to hospitals, reach out to colleges in your areas, reach out to funeral homes in your areas. Let them know that you would be offering their guests a stay, or that they can partner with you guys and you can offer them maybe a discounted stay. That's one way. And then also what you can do is start building up your direct bookings platform by collecting information from any guest that comes to your property. And then what you can do is you can market to them. You could say, hey, we have this weekend open. Would you want to come book with us directly, and we'll offer you a 20% discount. You can get some last minute bookings like that, and we've started to get bookings like that, and we're building out our list every time someone comes and stays at our property. A few other quick things. Again, play around with pricing. I would adjust pricing almost daily and make sure that your pricing for week of or 2 weeks out is very aggressive. I would also rotate the pictures you have, and of course, once you get your designer in there, to get professional pictures. How can I start Airbnb or real estate with bad credit? Okay, so the easiest way, the first thing that came to mind was partnering with someone. You can partner with someone that has good credit. So what you can do is you could find the deal, you can maybe be boots on the ground, you could be the manager, you could be the kind of overseer of the stand-up, the design, but someone else can bring cash and they can bring their lendability, their credit score to a deal, and they can sign for it and buy it. You could still be 50-50 partners. In your opinion, is it profitable to purchase a larger property and convert it into multiple separate Airbnb rentals, like the upstairs and the downstairs with their own kitchen and bathroom, or is this pushing it and do consumers not like this? So here's the short answer on this. Typically, in vacation areas, larger properties do better. They can generate a higher cash flow number and they can kind of appeal to a more broad market. In urban areas, like more city or residential areas, you can probably do better in cutting up the property and having smaller units because there might not be as many drivers for big groups to some urban or, let's say, residential areas. But it just depends on the comp. So what I would say is look up comps, look up comparables on Airbnb, Vrbo, and AirDNA. Another great tool. You can use a free version or paid version. And again, this is not a sponsored video, but you can use those three sources to see what's going on in the market. You can look up to see what hosts are doing well and what hosts are not doing well. And by doing that, you can get an idea of which ones you want to actually model. So for me, I like to just use the numbers. I like to see which properties do better, smaller or larger, based on the purchase price or the rent price. And then you'll know when you analyze the property. Again, we give away our tools for free. We'll drop them in the summary, but you can then see which property does better, which makes more money, and then you can make the decision. But I don't like to blanket statement to cut up a property or not, or bigger or smaller. It just depends on the purchase price, the area, the demographic, what type of person is coming to stay at the property. So if you look those things up for free, you can get a quick idea of which options are best. But again, kind of just going back to the beginning, if you're in a vacation area, a lot of times bigger properties that are just serving groups do better because you can charge a higher nightly rate. But if you're in more urban or like residential areas, sometimes smaller or single properties, single units, they can do better. Okay, really important one. What steps would you recommend for someone just out of college trying to get into STR or the Airbnb business? I might go a different direction here than people are looking for or expecting. What I would say here, guys, is to get a job, actually. I would try to get a job out of college. Try to get the most high-paying job you can. What I did was go into sales. I got a W-2 in North Carolina. I got a sales job. The way I got this job was just by kind of cold DMing, cold calling people. Again, that's sales. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's a very high-income skill and you can learn it. But I would recommend getting a job out of college and then every year buying 1 or 2 properties. And you can do this with low money down strategies. What you can do if you have the money in year 1 is buy a property with 3.5% down and then a property with 10% down. The 10% down property could be a second home or a vacation home. You can have both when you have a job. Banks will give you loans. It just depends how much you're making and if you have trailing credit. If you don't have any trailing history or credit or banks want to see longer, you can have a parent or a family member co-sign on the loan. If 2 is too much, just do the house hack. Try to find a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex where you can live in it, rent out the other units, and put very little money down to get started. But by doing that, you get a ton. You learn about real estate, you start to actually get skin in the game, you're gonna start collecting money, you're gonna actually learn how all this works, and then you can keep doing it every year and turn the next property that you buy into your primary, and then turn the last one, the one that you own for that last year, you can turn that into a rental, an Airbnb or regular rental. And I've said this before, if someone just does this 5 years in a row out of college, their net worth should be around $1 million, if not more. And depending on the area, of course, but in most areas, and you're just in a great spot because you're gonna be cash flowing and your net worth is just gonna be going up. And you're doing this while you have a job. You're taking all the money you make in your job and you're funneling into an investment that actually makes cash flow and actually goes up in value. That's way different than someone investing in stocks who it's just money on a screen, and in order to liquidate, in order to actually take any of that benefit out, you need to sell the stock, which is not great. What are your thoughts on investing in a more established and arguably saturated vacation market like Destin or the Smokies versus finding a more under the radar or up and coming market? I would almost always prefer to find an up and coming or under the radar market, because those markets, they are pretty saturated. You need to do a ton to stand out in those markets. Not saying you can't design an insane experience, but it's gonna be harder in those markets. Okay, what is co-hosting? How can I do this? Co-hosting is property management, more or less. It's where you are gonna help Airbnb hosts run their property, optimize their property, communicate with guests, and in return, you're gonna be paid a percentage of the revenue. The best way to get started with this is by analyzing properties for traditional landlords. So a lot of people think the way to get co-hosting clients or management clients is to reach out to current Airbnb hosts. That is not the most effective way, because a lot of them are kind of set in their ways and they think that they're the best at doing what they're doing, which they may or may not be, but usually not. So the most effective way is to go to traditional landlords on Bigger Pockets, on Facebook group, at meetups, through friends, and analyze their property for them on Airbnb or furnished rental sites. You could, again, just analyze with my tool. And then from there, you can show them the numbers and say, hey, have you ever considered this? It's a way that you could make more money. Or you can show them that they can change their risk. They can have different opportunities with the property and all the benefits. One kind of unknown or kind of not discussed benefit is that by putting a property in Airbnb, it actually stays in way better condition than if you do traditional rentals, because you have someone cleaning the property on a weekly or nightly basis, and you have your team in the property. For traditional rentals as a landlord, sometimes I don't see the inside of the property for years at a time, and tenants can really have some bad habits on the property and sort of like unknowingly just destroy the property. You're almost always gonna have to repaint, recarpet after every tenant, because they just do damage just by living there. It's kind of one of those things because they're just in there for a long period of time. Okay, thinking about house hacking, but Airbnb also sounds interesting. What is your recommendation as far as what to start with and why? This is pretty simple for me. If you're a complete beginner and you don't have a lot of money or coming out of college, maybe you have a job, I would do house hacking because it's kind of just something in the background. I would try to do one house hack a year and then one investment property a year. I know it sounds like maybe a lot, but it's just 2 properties a year. It's 1 every 6 months. So I would try to do both. But for most people, let's say most younger people under 25, I would say start with house hacking and then you can add the others. But if you're a little older or you're just dead set that you don't want to live with roommates or you don't want to live next to your tenants, then you can just start with regular investment properties, midterm rentals, Airbnbs, regular rentals, and you'll be on your way. All right, next, do you actively use your real estate license and is it still active? So I use my real estate license, but a little differently. Some of you guys may or may not know this, but if you have a real estate license, you can get paid just for referring people to brokers. So for example, let's say I have a friend here in New York who wants to buy a property in Florida. What I can do is connect that person in New York with a Florida broker, and I can be paid 20% of that Florida broker's commission. It's called a referral. So I'm not looking to do active like showings and try to find clients, but since we do a deal newsletter and make content, a lot of times if you guys are interested, I can connect you with a broker that is already an Airbnb or furnished rental expert or one that I use, and I can make kind of a commission from that. You're not gonna pay anything extra. They're just gonna pay out of their commission to us for helping kind of broker that relationship. It's one of the best passive ways to make money if you are a good networker and you understand a little bit about real estate and you're interested in building a brand online. It's a great way to just kind of make passive income. That is how I use my real estate license. I do not do the other stuff. How long did it take you to get to this point in your career, be financially free by investing in real estate and businesses? It took me 6 years. When I was from 21 to 27, those were like the main years that I was working on this. But I think if I would have done it again, kind of with the stuff that I know now, it might have taken like 3 to be at a similar point. But I was working on the company stuff that I was employed to do a lot during those years. And I was trying to like stay balanced and make as much money as I could and impress leadership. And I didn't know that entire time that I was gonna leave to do real estate, but it just kind of happened. Do you solely invest in real estate or teach or mentor other people? Real estate is the main business. I did mentoring and coaching last year. I didn't really love it as much as I thought because it kind of pulled me away from the real estate investing stuff. And a lot of times what I found was I would tell someone to do something, give them kind of a blueprint, invest in them, and they wouldn't do it. And that's okay. That's sort of like human nature. I found that some people do stuff, some people don't. But I realized for me, I was a little frustrated when, like people wouldn't just take the action that I thought would be the right thing for them to do, and maybe they wouldn't end up where they wanted to be. And I didn't love that feeling of just not being able to help someone. So we had tons of success with people that were like the ones following instructions and going after it. But I just realized that it's harder to help some people if they're not willing to help themselves. So what we kind of replaced that with is now a deal finding service where we will help you or anyone watching this now find your first property and get it under contract. We will analyze it for you, we'll analyze areas for you, and we will send you deals if you're interested. So if you're interested with that or in that, we'll also have a link for that below in the summary, and you could just look into ways that our team can help you analyze or pick deals or pick markets for you with our team doing the research. How did you overcome the fear to take the leap in real estate investing? So for me, I didn't really look at it like a massive leap. I looked at it like it was more of something that was tried and true and actually had less risk. So I looked at other friends that were starting companies and hiring people and trying to develop software and apps and stuff like that. And that looked really risky and scary to me because you had to lay out a lot of money and not know if it was going to come back. Real estate is very tried and true. It's a very proven thing. And for me, the way that I took the leap was just seeing other people who weren't that much smarter than me or smarter than me at all, very successful in real estate. Like some people are pretty dumb in real estate, no offense to them, but you could just see other people doing it and realize it's not complicated. It's not rocket science. It's not developing an app. It's just buying an asset, having your tenants pay the mortgage, have some extra for cash flow, and then buying more stuff with that as you kind of just snowball. So that's what gave me the confidence, seeing other people doing it. Do you ever offer one-on-one coaching? Sometimes, but pretty rarely, like maybe once a year, twice a year, we'll open it up. I just haven't decided when we'll do that again if we do it. But if you're really, really interested, just reach out and we'll maybe do a wait list. And then when we do it, I will let you know. Where do you go to find virtual assistants? Okay, so we'll link it either somewhere on the screen or below the video. But I did a full 6-part series on how to find virtual assistants step by step. We also have some other training if you're interested in more hands-on training. But the main ways that we find virtual assistants are onlinejobs.ph, Upwork, Facebook groups. Those are the main places I'll just say for now. There's some others, but those are the main ones. And again, guys, if you want a free step-by-step tutorial, we'll have the full series that I've done linked below. What tasks do you trust your virtual assistants with? Pretty much everything. Video editing, a video like this. Virtual assistants can help with Airbnb management, with copywriting, with writing tweets, with social media management. They can help with personal assistant stuff like scheduling an appointment, email management, calling my dentist, emailing different people on our team about status reports. They can also help with finding deals. They can do cold calling, they can do cold texting, they could reach out to brokers. Pretty much anything that can be done with a phone or a computer, they can handle. It just can't be in person if they're out of the country or in the Philippines. But those are just some of the easiest ones. What is Deals Done For You? What can I get out of this? So Deals Done For You is a free newsletter that we put out where we send out deals a few times a week that our team finds that we think are really good. We've analyzed the area, we've analyzed the deal, we know brokers in those areas, and we send them out and they're completely free. You can do with them what you want. We do then have a premium version of that where people get more help. They get access to more training. They get access to all of our tools. They can submit deals themselves. They can submit areas themselves they want feedback on, and our team will analyze it. So that is what Deals Done For You is. It is what we transitioned to this year when our team just got really good at finding deals. and we felt it was just getting harder and harder to find deals, and people were buying bad deals. So we wanted to help people make sure they were not buying bad deals and could get support. That's what that is. And the last question, how would you suggest finding a reliable mentor? Okay, the way that I would recommend finding a reliable mentor would be to find people that are in the situation or position you want to be in a few years. So that could be real estate, it could be regular business, whatever field you want to go into. I would try to find the people that are successful and seem happy in that industry, and then do whatever it takes to get close to them. So what that could mean is reaching out to them on all platforms, asking them what their biggest challenge or problem is that you can then help solve. So maybe it's they need help with social media. That's a huge one, guys. If you go to all your mentors and say, hey, I'll help you with social media, or I'll help you with technology, they will maybe give you a shot, maybe not, but you can find out what helps them. You could say, hey, I'll be your personal assistant. I'll manage your email. You could say, I'll get your coffee every morning. I'll cut your grass. I'll cold call for you. I'll do whatever it takes. I just want to get 30 minutes with you every few weeks where I could ask you questions and learn how you got where you are. If you do that enough times, if you do that to 10 people, I assure you, you will get responses. And here's a little pro tip on how to get a mentor. Instead of just sending a DM or an email or a LinkedIn message, record a video like this, or even just on your phone. Video, they can see your personality. It just shows you're more serious, you're standing out, you're doing something different, and just explain who you are, what you're able to help them with. You could say your skills. You could say, I'm good with spreadsheets, I'm good with video editing, I can help you with social media. Basically whatever, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want to get around you, learn how you've done what you've done to be successful, and from there, see what happens. That's how I found all my mentors in the past, and they've all appreciated that approach, that style, and you'll see that, you know, it can open some doors for you if you don't have a lot of natural relationships. Other than that though, you could start with people that went to the same college as you, or maybe friends of friends. And again, just try to deliver value by doing one of those things. Just reaching out and asking to pick their brain or a virtual coffee, you'll get some yeses, but unless you know they're open to it, or they're really nice, which is great and that can happen, but not everyone's open to it. It might not get you a mentor. It might get you some help here and there, but if you're looking for a mentor, do those things that I just mentioned. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't have anything else recorded or written down, so that can be it. If you have any questions or stuff you want to see covered in other videos, I'm sure we'll do more of this. Just drop a comment below and we will answer your question. And I hope this is helpful. So let me know. See you guys in the next one, and we'll drop the links for the tools and for the VA kind of free course and for deals done for you if you are interested in getting more real estate deals. That is it. Peace. See you guys later.